kind of twisty thing going. Speaking of, let's go ahead and Dynamesh this. So we've got Dynamesh here. So we've done the clay polish thing. We've got an interesting look. You can also go in here, if we go back to our standard brush that we made, or if you want to make a new one, standard brush, clone, drag rect, go into our alphas. I'm going to go into my alphas here. And I think I have some stencils is what I'm looking for. I can go through here. Let's do a really cool, like we'll do the stencil here. We'll double tap this one here. And now we can like drag out these patterns on here, and it'll kind of look like it's carved into the stone. You can hold down Alt and kind of carve it in. Let's change that intensity down just a bit here. And again, we've changed our focal shift down to -100 for these brushes so that we don't get that fade along the back here. So you can very quickly just go in and start making this stuff look like it was, you know, carved right into that rock here. And then once you've done that, and you don't have to do it at this point, you can do it earlier, you can do it later. But once you get that in there, then you can go in here with your brush, trim smooth border, and you know, start cragging it up, or putting in, we'll go back to our standard brush, and we can start adding in cracks. Let's find a smooth spot here. If you wanted to do a bullet hole, you could make it manually. Let's do a bullet hole alpha. I'm going to drag out a plain 3D, go into edit mode, make polymesh 3D, turn on the smooth modifier, divide this thing up a couple times, and we're just going to hold down Alt, and we're going to just kind of punch in this thing here, and then we're just going to kind of radiate out from the middle, kind of some cracks like this. So this will be a very comic book, like Todd McFarlane bullet hole. Greg Capullo kind of look here. This is the kind of bullet hole I remember seeing in comic books here. So we're just kind of going through with our standard brush here. We're just going to kind of web these things together. It's like it's going to kind of chip out like so. So we're going to make basically a custom alpha that we can apply here. So if we choose this, you can make your document size correct and grab alpha, but I'm just going to make it simple. I'm going to go in out of edit mode, which drops it to our canvas. And I'm going to go to the mRGB-Z grabber, and you can hold down shift if you want to make it perfectly square. And now what that did is it captured the texture, which we don't need, but also the alpha, which we do need. So now what I can do is hit Control and clear our canvas, go back to our crazy mesh we've got going here. And now we can just drag that out. Let's go ahead and go to our standard brush that we made with this pattern alpha, and we'll switch that out with this one. And so now we've got a, let's go ahead and hit Control D. There we go. So now we can drag out the bullet hole. Now, obviously, this isn't going to work, this kind of border around here, so we're going to have to do some modifications to this. So we're going to go to Alpha, Modify, go to Mid Value, and I'm going to type in 50 to start. And you're going to see as I go higher, let's go to 70, it starts going down more. So if I go to 100, there we go, that got rid of it. So you get to kind of dial in that mid value, so you're going to see it's going out, and then the higher you get, it goes in. So sometimes you have to kind of dial in. It depends on if, you know, it's got a mid value, and then if you go above that or below that value, it'll start poking out. So let's go ahead and crank up that intensity there. There we go. So now if you really like this bullet hole brush, we can go ahead and let's really quickly just go to our sphere 3D, drag that out, make a polymesh 3D, divide it up a couple times, go grab our bullet hole brush that we just made, which I guess was this one. There we go. So now we can just kind of, and it doesn't really look like bullet holes, but whatever. So we got this here. We can go to brush, alt select, hold down alt and tap select icon, and then that'll grab that icon here, and then we can go to brush, save as, and we can just throw this right to our Z brush for our 7 folder, Z brushes rocks, and we'll call this bulletware. And so now if we want to grab that again against the comma key, brushes, rocks QRS here. Where are we at? LMNOPQRS. Rocks brushes. And oops, that's not that one. We were in just rocks, not rocks brushes. There we go. And then there's our test one we did earlier. There's our bulletware. So we can just double click this one and bring it back in, and we're good to go. Cool. Thanks for the kind words, everybody. Thanks for showing up. Assign a secondary hotkey for ZBrush. I'm not sure about that one. Like if you want 2 hotkeys assigned, I don't know if you can actually. I think it's a one one thing deal. Cool. Yeah, so yeah, once you have that mid value dialed in, if there is still a little bit of an artifact, good point, Garrett, Garrettle, you can drag that out. If you're still having a little bit of a problem, you can go into alpha, modify, and there's a radial fade, which will just kind of just start fading out the edges here. You can do it here on the radial fade as well as your focal shift. You can kind of crank that down. So see how that outer edge kind of meets up. If it's over here, it's going to be an ultra sharp edge. As you dial this down, it'll kind of start fading out those edges. So you can use either radial fade over here or your focal shift to kind of play around with those two things. Cool. Very nice, very nice.